witnessed the rise and fall of many creatures throughout the years. But what happens when one of them returns from extinction? From ancient sharks to alien squids, here are 60 extinct sea animals caught alive on camera. In the ocean's depths, a creature lurks that can only be described as a modern-day kraken. The giant squid can grow to be a whopping 40 feet long.
Usually live deep beneath the ocean's surface, meaning sightings are extremely rare. So what was the squid doing swimming on the surface? Well, despite their astonishing size, the lifespan...
This particular squid was spotted off the coast of Japan. But while they tend to come to the surface these days, they were thought to be extinct over 100 years ago.
To be around 5 years. And given the squid's physical appearance and docile nature, experts believe it was likely sick or injured and nearing the end of its life.
Speaking of strange deep-sea creatures, the barely fish has to be one of the most alien-looking creatures, with its transparent head and tubular eyes. The barely fish was thought to be extinct for over 60 years, but in 2009, scientists made a breakthrough when one was captured on film in deep waters off the coast of the US. Greenland sharks are one of the most significant species of sharks, growing as long as 21 feet. But that's not why they're special. These are rare ancient creatures that dwell in cold, deep water. But here's the kicker. They can live up to 400 years, making them the longest living vertebrates on Earth. Not all rare creatures live on the ocean floor, though. The Atlantic bluefin tuna, for instance, ran the risk of extinction due to overfishing until only a few years ago.
On the old 30, no hook, let it float down a little.
Let it float down. I just thought a surface bite.
Wow, look at this.
This amazing footage comes from Southern California, where a fisherman somehow manages to lure in a giant bluefin tuna that weighs almost 1,000 pounds.
We can't stop until we have nothing left on the boat.
The following footage comes from Socorro Island in Mexico, where a scientific expedition stumbled upon one of the most stunning sea creatures, the scientific name for which translates to vampire squid from hell.
It looks like a dumbo.
So pretty.
Shiny.
Look at how shiny.
It's a vampire squid.
Is it a vampire squid?
Video, I think so.
What Brendan say?
I think he's...
The vampire squid is considered a living relic, evolving from an ancestor of the octopus. Its lineage goes back 165 million years in the fossil record.
Get him out of there. Oh, best
The Mariana Trench is home to bizarre creatures like frilled sharks and dragonfish. But almost a decade ago, a Japanese expedition captured footage of something much more significant. Spotted about 1 mile deep in the ocean, many believe this is the fabled megalodon shark, which supposedly went extinct over 2.6 million years ago. But is the 60-foot monster gone, or is it hiding from us? In the 1950s, there were about 5,000 Yangtze River dolphins around. By the 90s, only 13 were left in the world. However, the last confirmed sighting of these creatures was in 2002. This is a rare footage of the functionally extinct Yangtze River dolphin, which didn't just disappear for no reason. It's one of the first dolphin species driven to extinction due to the impact of humans. The deep-sea dragonfish lurks about 3,000 feet deep in the ocean, and it was once thought to be extinct. But in the 20th century, the fish was rediscovered in deep waters near Japan. Shaped like a torpedo, the fish is lethal thanks to the bioluminescent organs under its eyes, which act like night vision goggles for hunting prey. The following footage comes from a rocky beach in Malibu, California, where a woman stumbled upon a scarce find, a California black sea hare.
Giant California sea hare, which is basically a snail, a sea snail, without any shell.
These are some of the most enormous sea slugs in the world, weighing as much as 30 pounds. Until recently, they were thought to have gone extinct due to overfishing.
Right now, the whole body is moving. They use these things called rhinophores to smell their way around.
The dusky shark was thought to have disappeared from the Atlantic in the 80s, but thanks to conservation efforts, the rare shark made an incredible comeback in the 90s. With bite force measured at 130 pounds near the tip of a tooth, the dusky shark is one of the deadliest creatures in the sea and can easily chew through anything. In 2020, a Japanese expedition captured footage of an extraordinary sea creature, the megamouth shark. First discovered off the coast of Hawaii in 1976, the megamouth looks like an ancient sea creature brought to life. The shark gets its name from its massive circular mouth filled with fine, sharp teeth. But while it looks menacing, it's the smallest of the filter-feeding sharks, behind the whale and the basking sharks. In 2021, a fisherman in Australia set out to catch the one fish he'd always had on his bucket list, a western port elephant fish.
Look at the teeth on this thing. What a fascinating chomping claws. And look at the... Oh, there you go. There.
Catching the elephant fish is no child's play though, because not only is it rare, but it's also elusive. But its shark-like fins and trunk-like snout more than make up for the effort needed to catch it.
Desperate to catch today, not because it's the hardest fighting, but just because it's fascinating looking and it's something that I'd never caught before. The shape of it, which resembles a shark.
In 2024, people were on a whale-watching tour off the coast of Dominica when they lucked upon a mesmerizing sight. A massive pod of Fraser's dolphins right next to their boat.
I see these dolphins swimming in front of the boat. Watch as he surfaces. These Fraser's dolphins are probably about 5 to 8 or 9 feet.
These dolphins are highly sociable, always swimming together in big groups. And while conservation efforts have restored their population, they're still a rare sight in the ocean.
Completely unconcerned with the predators that are in the nearby neighborhood. This area off the north side of the island of Dominica has deep trenches that are many...
Hidden in the ocean's depths near South Africa, the coelacanth is a prehistoric fish thought to have gone extinct 66 million years ago, until rediscovered in 1938. The coelacanth is a very special creature. It's the only living creature with a 3-lobed tail, and these monsters can live for over 100 years. In 2007, a marine biology expedition found the frilled shark, a prehistoric creature off the coast of Awaishima, Japan. Considered a living fossil, the frilled shark has remained unchanged for over 80 million years, and to this day it continues to terrorize other creatures in the depths of the ocean. The following footage comes from Ireland, where a group of friends were shooting a video in their boat when they noticed something strange emerge from the water.
What is that? See it? Is that a hair?
The creature moved at incredible speeds and was more significant than anything they'd ever seen. But while they initially thought it was a whale, many believed they'd spotted the mythical Loch Ness Monster.
Here, get this out. What is that?
Witness a rare sight near Fort Lauderdale Beach, where two scuba divers stumbled upon a Kemp's Ridley sea turtle, usually only found in the Gulf of Mexico. These are the rarest and the most endangered of the 7 sea turtles found worldwide, and up until 1980, they were thought to be functionally extinct due to habitat destruction. Sometimes, you see something that doesn't feel real, and these fishermen experienced exactly that, except they captured it on camera. They thought they were about to have a regular workday, offloading fish from the net. But little did they know that they'd caught something much bigger, something that wasn't even a fish. They'd seen a real-life mermaid. Meet one of the rarest fish on the planet, the red handfish. It's famous for its modified fins, which resemble human hands. It uses them to walk across the seafloor.
I learned a lot from finding this second population because the habitat wasn't identical to where we found the first population, so where the first population is known from. We can take some heart in knowing.
The red handfish was once considered functionally extinct until its rediscovery in 2002. However, despite conservation efforts, only about 100 remain in the wild.
They're not as critically dependent on that particular habitat. But perhaps because both populations are so small, it's an indication that they're...
Some terrifying creatures inhabit the deep sea and aren't much scarier than the goblin shark, which was thought to be extinct for decades.
It's bitten into the sleeve of the diver's wetsuit. Its mouth protrudes to create the typical goblin shark shape.
Goblin sharks remain one of the least understood shark species because they tend to swim in dark waters. But we know they're living fossils, with their lineage going back 125 million years. Not all rare sea creatures have to be terrifying, though. The pygmy seahorse, for instance, is one of the smallest vertebrates in the world, only growing about as long as 2 centimeters.
Ever heard of a seahorse so tiny it fits on your fingertip? A tiny, colorful seahorse blends perfectly with the coral branches. Meet the pygmy seahorse, the world's smallest seahorse.
But their small size isn't the only thing that makes them unique. These seahorses are also masters of camouflage, hanging on to their coral homes and matching their colors, almost becoming indistinguishable to the naked eye.
These amazing creatures are camouflage champions. They change color to match their coral homes, making them super hard to spot. Think you can find the pygmy seahorse hiding in this?
In 2011, a survey team off the coast of Oman discovered one of the strangest coral predators, the crown of thorns starfish, which was thought to be extinct in parts of the Great Barrier Reef due to coral bleaching. These incredible creatures can have up to 18 arms and have the entire upper surface of their bodies covered in venomous spikes. The following footage comes from the Gulf of California in Mexico, where researchers spotted the most endangered marine mammal in the world, the vaquita. The vaquita has been listed as critically endangered since 1996, and despite ongoing recovery efforts, its population still stands at around 10 individuals worldwide. The Guadalupe fur seals were heavily hunted in the 16th and 17th centuries, so much so that by the early 1900s, they were thought to be extinct. That is until they were rediscovered on Guadalupe Island in 1928. While their population has recovered, they remain endangered, so this seal was nursed back to health and released at a BioBlitz in 2014. In 2020, a man was diving off the coast of Western Australia when he found the elusive tasseled wobbegong shark, a rare carpet shark that hides under shallow reefs and ambushes its prey. Like other ambush predators, the shark has patterns to match the reef, but that's not all. The carpet shark changes its color at night to match the sand patches. The following footage comes from Scotland, where a scuba diver found a common flapper skate at the seabed. Despite their name, these creatures were scarce in the 20th century, so much so that they were considered extinct in some areas, but thankfully their population has rebounded since the turn of the century. In 2008, a South Korean research vessel had an incredible encounter near Antarctica when it made contact with a real colossal squid. This is the world's largest squid species and mollusk, and it's so elusive that it's never been observed in its natural habitat. The only time we find them is when they want to be seen. In the 1900s, the oceanic white-tip shark was considered one of the most abundant large animals. But as of 2019, this creature's population has declined by almost 98%. The following footage comes from Egypt, where a group of scuba divers encountered this critically endangered shark and were left in complete awe. Meet the rarest penguin in the world, the yellow-eyed penguin. Its population sharply declined in the 1990s and eventually reached the endangered species list. Only around 3,000 are left in the wild, and most are constantly monitored in isolated colonies in New Zealand. The sea robin is a fascinating creature because it looks like a bird and behaves like one underwater, thanks to its fins that flap like wings.
Alright, you guys, just caught this sea robin right here. Not something that I catch all the time, but look at that, they've got like little legs right there. These things are so cool. I got spawned bombed them.
Finding a bearded sea robin in the wild is already rare, but catching one is like hitting a jackpot. But this guy seems to have pulled that off.
Kind of hurt. Look at that though. Look at his wings in the water. Oh, there he is. This thing right here at my feet. You can see those wings just spread out. He almost looks kind of like a...
In 2017, a diving specialist was filming habitat assessments off the coast of Madeira when he encountered the rarest species of seal in the world, the Mediterranean monk seal. These seals are so rare that they almost went extinct in the 90s, with only 8 alive in 1988. But thanks to conservation efforts, their population has jumped to about 700 in the wild. Narwhals were thought to have gone extinct in the 19th century. While many people believe they're still extinct, the reality is different. They are very much alive and abundant. That doesn't mean their population is stable, though. Due to climate change, narwhals are struggling to find sea ice, again putting them at risk of extinction. Sometimes, even conservation efforts aren't enough to save a creature. The Chinese paddlefish, for instance, used to be abundant hundreds of years ago, but overfishing has changed that. This paddlefish disappeared from the planet in the 1990s, and there have been no confirmed sightings since 2003. In 2022, it was officially declared extinct, and all we have now is old footage. This is a giant isopod, a rare deep-sea creature that lives on the seafloor around Japan and the Gulf of Mexico. These creatures can grow up to 18 inches long and weigh up to 3 pounds. But sadly, their population is dwindling due to plastic debris and deep sea trawlers. Jellyfish are already some of the most fascinating sea creatures. So what happens when you find one that's strange even for its kind? Well, you get the flame jellyfish. With branched oral arms underneath the bell and several secondary mouth openings, the flame jellyfish is one of the most mesmerizing sights in the wild. However, even this beautiful creature continues to run the risk of overfishing, especially in China. The following footage comes from British Columbia in Canada, where a man noticed something big floating just under the surface near his boat.
They've captured a large unidentified creature can be
with a thin and long body. The creature almost looked like an eel, except it was much larger than any eel. But then it dawned on him, this wasn't just any creature. He was in the presence of the mythical lake monster Ogopogo.
seen swimming past. Barely visible from the surface, the animal looks huge. The uploader suggests that the creature
Hawaiian monk seals are among the most endangered marine animals in the world, and despite conservation efforts, their population has continued to decline over the years. While they may not look much different from their cousins, only about 1,400 are left in the world. Prized for their beauty and wanted for their eggs and meat, the hawksbill turtles have been hunted for thousands of years, and sadly, that population decline has finally started to catch up to them.
That we should take to ensure viability of the species into the future.
Global populations have declined by an estimated 90% over the last 100 years, having a major impact.
These turtles are currently classified as critically endangered due to the combined effects of poaching, fishing nets, and climate change. And now, with only 20,000 of them in existence, these turtles face extinction in the years to come.
Impact on the ability of hawksbills to fulfill their ecological roles, as they're the only species of sea turtles that eat sponges. They help ensure sponges don't overtake the reef.
In September 2024, the Tonga Trench Expedition captured a rare sight, a Pacific sleeper shark that had somehow made its way to the southern hemisphere.
Around 3.5 meters long, it was at 1,400 meters depth. And due to the lack of observable claspers on the pelvic fins, we've identified it as...
Also known as Alaska's largest, most mysterious shark, much is unknown about the Pacific sleeper shark. What we do know is that these beasts can grow up to 14 feet in length.
After that, she realizes it doesn't taste very good and goes for the bait. It was around 2.5 degrees Celsius, which makes sense as we know that
the whip coral shrimp may have a significant population, but that doesn't mean it's not rare. After all, spotting one in the wild is incredibly difficult, thanks to its tiny size and camouflage ability.
Please make me something very special. These tiny critters, call it whip coral.
As evidenced by their name, whip coral shrimp are mainly found around whip corals and feed on parasites, algae, and plankton.
Shrimp. The others, they call it wire coral shrimp. It is so many names, but the only thing I can say, this type of critters.
In 2007, a scuba diver was filming a school of fish underwater off the coast of Australia when he noticed a sudden shift in his surroundings, almost as if the fish were making way for something bigger. He thought he was about to encounter a shark, but what emerged from the distance was something he couldn't have imagined in his wildest dreams. It was a mermaid. In 2020, a research team in Southern California made a big breakthrough in saving the warty sea cucumber from extinction. These creatures are some of the most overfished sea creatures in the world. So much so that despite commercial efforts to maintain their population, they're still classified as vulnerable. The Amazon river dolphin is the largest species of river dolphin, but that's not why they're special. It's their pink color and striking appearance that sets them apart. Only found in the rivers of South America, the Amazon river dolphin is sadly endangered due to habitat fragmentation. In November 2007, an oil company vehicle stumbled upon something spectacular in the Gulf of Mexico: the magna pinna squid. With its long arms and strange shape, the magna pinna squid is the closest thing we have to a real-life alien. The New Zealand sea lion is one of the world's rarest sea lion species and can weigh as much as 1,000 pounds. Only about 12,000 of them exist, and despite conservation efforts, their population continues to decline. In 2024, a Japanese whale research ship discovered something genuinely terrifying in the Southern Ocean, a mythical creature known as the ningen. With a human-like appearance, the ningen is almost like a mermaid, except it's much more significant and white. The following footage was recorded 1,500 meters deep in the Gulf of Mexico, capturing one of the rarest deep-sea fish, the cusk eel. Like other deep-sea creatures, the cusk eel looks prehistoric, almost like a relic from ancient times.
Covered in scales that help it to blend in with the dark, deep ocean. It is rarely seen by humans.
Anglerfish is one of those scary sea creatures we've seen on social media, but fewer than a dozen have ever been captured on video.
That are very rarely observed in their natural habitat. Fewer than half a dozen have ever been captured on film or video by deep-diving research vehicles. This
particular anglerfish is known as the Black Sea Devil, and it was captured during a research expedition in 2014 swimming in the depths of Monterey Canyon.
Anglers have a remarkable apparatus on their heads, a fishing pole with a luminous lure at the tip, which they use to attract.
In June 2011, people on a wharf off the coast of Canada captured something spectacular on their vessel's piling: pink sea stars. These are some of the biggest sea stars in the world, with 5 thick arms and a large central disc, and seeing them is extremely rare. In 2006, researchers filmed one of the rarest deep-sea creatures during a submersible dive off the coast of Molokai, a blunt-nosed 6-gill shark.
Oh my god!
It's coming right at the ROS camera.
Oh my god, it's huge!
Usually found at depths of up to 6,000 feet, these sharks can live for over 80 years and grow as long as 18 feet.
Right. Here he comes again. Here he comes. Got it. Man.
Can you get him on the
whoa.
Known for their mesmerizing beauty, sea angels are some of the most alien-like creatures, and seeing them up close in the wild is very rare. They are tiny, with the largest species reaching only 5 centimeters long, but their glowing internal organs make them unique. Over the years, many people have mistaken giant oarfish for mythical creatures like the Loch Ness Monster, but that doesn't mean they're any less spectacular. These creatures were considered extremely rare until a few decades ago, but now there's plenty of them around. This one, for instance, was found in shallow waters near California. While the Yeti crab was never technically extinct, it was only discovered in 2005 in the South Pacific Ocean. They get their name thanks to their silky blonde fur, and like many albino animals, they're also considered blind. Giant clams may have been abundant a few decades ago, but years of overharvesting have put them on the brink of extinction. They've become extinct in many areas already, which is why they're now a highly regulated species. Filmed in the Arctic at a depth of 3,000 feet in 2016, the Dumbo octopus is one of the rarest species of octopus in the world. They can change colors and camouflage themselves against the ocean floor, but what makes them unique, of course, are their oversized ears. Meet the Pacific viperfish, a rare deep-sea creature that, despite its small size, is deadly thanks to its fangs. They have light organs along their body and use bioluminescence to disappear into the background, which helps them hide from their prey. The deep sea is home to some strange-looking creatures, but not many can compare to the ghost shark or the chimera.
There are around 40 different species. Many of these species were just discovered within the last 15 years.
They're also called spookfish, due to their oddly shaped heads, ghastly color, and large black eyes.
Most commonly from 650 to 6,500 feet deep. They use their long fins on their sides, called
The following footage comes from Portugal, where tourists had a rare encounter with an ocean sunfish. These fish are listed as vulnerable, but their population is sharply declining due to pollution. Once common in the wild, sawfish have seen a significant decline in population over the past few decades, making them critically endangered. Seeing one in the wild is extremely rare, which is also why these particular sawfish are kept in an aquarium. In March 2013, a group of divers were on an expedition 3,000 feet deep near the coast of Greenland when they had the scariest encounter of their lives. They only saw a hand but knew it couldn't have been a human. They were sure they'd seen a real mermaid.